Hey everybody, welcome to the Grimdark Breakdown. So what we're going to do tonight is we are going to actually break down intimidation levels of an army. So think about it from this perspective. You're at a local game store, you're at an RT, you're at a GT, you're at a super major, doesn't matter. You get paired into X army. Are you going, that army is spoon level? This is an easy win. I'm going to lunch early. Is that army a little intimidating where you go, okay, as long as I don't mess this up and this up, I think I'm going to be okay? Are they straight up intimidating in the sense of like, okay, crud, if I don't play this right, or if I go first or second or insert X, I'm probably going to lose? Or the extremely intimidating is the one where when you're sitting with your friends group and you see you get the pairing, you toss your phone back on the table and you're like, mother blank. Like, I just got paired into whatever army it is that you hate. And it could be because that's hard for your army you play to deal with. It could be because they're just annoying to play. This won't be anything meta dependent. We're not going to be, when we're referencing stuff, it has nothing to do with what is currently strong in the meta, because we all know that can change really, really rapidly. But this is just more about like from our perspectives, and we'll debate them a little bit, and I'll kind of play judge at the end if we completely disagree on something. But I'm going to let each person kind of introduce some of them. I think every single person has actually been on one of the streams before, but I'm going to we'll kick it off. Jace, if you want to start.
Jason, out of all these guys, I'm the newest, been playing for a year, played online with these guys a bunch, never played in a RT, GT, Super Major. I do the Meta Monday breakdown stuff. I watch, read about the armies. Otherwise, haven't really played many of them outside of the friend group here.
And what army do you play predominantly?
Death Guard.
Mr. Carter.
I've been on one video. I was on the tier list video that we did way back when. I play Orks. That's all it means, mean and green.
Mark also is a tournament regular, so I drag him to almost all the tournaments that I go to. I think I've only been to a handful of tournaments that Mark actually hasn't come to.
Sure, but at the same time, my play style is different from yours.
Yeah, a little bit. I would say Mark is an intermediate player. Like I'm very proud to brag for him a second. Man, at the Texas Open, he went 3-3. So that's the best he's done. And by the way, breaking into the 3-3 category is not a small feat. So you should feel proud. And then Mr. Chris.
Hello, Chris. Primarily play Astra Militarum, Imperial Guard, whatever you call them. I have been to 4, 5 in-person tournaments and probably 5 or 6 online tournaments. Yeah, I think I've been in 1 or 2 videos as well.
Yep. Chris is a good player. Chris hasn't been playing recently just due to work and moving around and stuff. But I think it's fair to say like he's an intermediate to like a little above intermediate. Would you say that's fair, Chris?
Yeah. Best I've done, I think, was 5-3.
So
5-2, but I didn't play my last game. But yeah.
Yeah. So I'm Drake. You guys see me. Unfortunately, my ugly mug in all these videos. I play my main army is Sisters. I do play World Eaters and Dark Angels from time to time. I have gone from winning 1 game to my best that I've done is 5-1. And for those of you guys that, watched our last video, Texas Open, I don't think I ever played below table 20. So my only loss was to the actual gentleman that won the tournament and the gentleman that got 10th. So I'm trying to get better as a player, but it's hard out there in them streets sometimes. So as we get started, I thought, Jason, since you are kind of first on my list, if you want to pick an army out of this first row, I'll let you kick us off.
All right. I'll start with Necrons.
Okay. Where are we putting them?
When I played them, the one time I've played them, which was about, I'd say maybe 8 months ago, they were slightly intimidating. If I had to play them now, they're extremely intimidating.
Yeah, we're not going to worry about the current meta.
But back then, it was 2 players of very similar backgrounds as far as length of play, experience in play. So I would have put them slightly intimidating just because I had never played them before.
Either of you guys?
I'd agree with that. They have guns, so I'd take them as slightly intimidating. That's how I look at it. But when I get in close, they're not so much of an issue for me as anymore. But yeah, I'd be content with that.
I don't know. Intimidating, yes. I think early on they're one of the more intimidating armies because they do a lot of shenanigans that I think a lot of people.
The heals
are really on paper. When someone reads it to you, you're like, oh my God, what do I do? How are you supposed to defeat that? How do you beat that? Especially if they're running 10 or 20 man bricks. And then you got the Catan who comes in and who feels unkillable. So I think for like a newer player, they are an extremely intimidating army to play against. But now not so much. Once you figure out what they do, you're kind of like, okay, I understand what the win condition is, and they're not terribly intimidating. I'd probably put them in intimidating because at the end of the day, if you misplay it or you don't commit the right amount of resources, I think you can end up in a bad spot.
Yep, I agree. I'm gonna bump them up one tier because I'm gonna agree. I think that Necrons, whether it's the current meta, it's the old meta, they are a stat check army. And fundamentally, because of heals, big healthy models with really strong stats. And if you know how to deal with it, then they're going to be in that blue or green category. And that's totally fine. If you don't, they're going to be up in the high. And so because it's going to be kind of a split, I think it could be very easy to go, because even if you know how to deal with it, if your army is not teched appropriately to deal with 80 warriors, that can be a problem. Or 4 Catan, that could be a problem. I do think that they're an army that I think you would have a hard time, whether you're an experienced player or a brand new player, if you see your matchup and you see it's Necrons, you're like, yes. I don't think anybody says that. All right, Mark, you are up next.
I'll take Astra Militarum.
Oh, he's coming out swinging. All right, where are you putting them?
I mean, they have a lot of guns, so intimidating. Like, when you first get in a game and somebody was like, cool, this is the army I'm playing, and I'm like, oh, okay, Astra Militarum. I kind of get excited because I play against Chris, and I like playing against the army, but at the same time, I'm like, you just put like 4 tanks on the board, sir. Okay. How many squads of Castra can you? Oh, you have a lot of, and then I kind of start really thinking like, man, is this the kind of player that itemized his stuff, or is he just going to be like, cool, I got 12 las guns and I'm going to shoot you? It's 12 las guns, I'm like, we're here. If he's like, all right, well, I got this guy, he's got a melta, and I got this guy, he's got a multiple. I got this guy, and he's got some other thing, and I'm like, I hate myself right now.
All right, anybody disagree?
With my army, I would put them as extremely intimidating. Because I don't have the arsenal, I feel, to be able to handle large bricks. I mean, I can chip away at them, but I would have to focus fire everything. And it's one of those armies where it's stat checky. If you take away the ability of their point scoring units and make those tanks come off the back line, make them score the points, then it can be fairly easy. But the thing is, getting to that point to where you're knocking out these 20-man bricks, they're not coming back, and dealing with all that fire support from the back, to me, is extremely intimidating. Now, there's other shooters that, aren't so much, but this one, they've got a mix of both.
Garnered in... So this is where this is what I knew was going to be funny, because I knew the three of us were going to have very, very different opinions. Guard is, in my opinion, is fundamentally a really good army, because they are probably one of the best hybrid. And when I mean hybrid, I mean they play every piece of the game really well. But here's the thing about Guard. I think if you're a newer player, aka like Jason, Guard are going to stomp you because they shoot so gosh darn well. If you're an intermediate player like James, Mark is, that they are actually going to be difficult to deal with, but you can win. When you become a more experienced player, outside of Nemo the Fish's 200-person guard list, I haven't lost a guard in probably 2 years, because they play an Grizzled Company. I have played multiple times, does give them some spice. They play too honest a game of Warhammer, in my opinion. And any army that plays honest Warhammer, when you get to the higher end of the game, it's to me, it's just a list of like, do they have a list that I can, or if they have 200 guardsmen and I've got a bunch of meltas, I can't deal with it. So they're not intimidating. I don't have the tools to deal with it. But to me, I would actually put them as in the green category, but I think because we all three are different, I think they landed intimidating. I think Guard are a very good army, and they are always going to be a very good army. And if you know how to play them, you can play them well. And if you have the correct army for them, you're fine. If not, it could be a tough game. All right, Chris, who you picking?
I am going to go with Chaos Demons.
Oh, I fucking hate Chaos Demons.
And hear me out. Let me just jump.
You didn't pick her on the first list. You picked somewhere else. Okay, here we go. All right, where are you putting them?
I'm putting them. I'm going to start them in intimidating, and I'm going to make an argument for why I think they should have been, and why they could be extremely intimidating. Okay, so
6-inch deep strike and charge.
here's my argument. I'm going to speak from the perspective of a newer player, say 3 or less tournaments. You're getting into the tournament scene. You're getting into competitive Warhammer. You're trying to understand. You're learning all the armies, and you show up and you see 2 or 3 12, 13 toughness things sitting on the board. And he places them, and you're like, oh, he's only got 2 or 3 things. That ain't that big of a deal.
And then he pulls out 30 circus horrors.
And then you start talking about auras, and you're a shooting army, and you're like, what? They don't die. They have decent shooting. They have scary as hell melee, and they're not that common. So there's not a ton of opportunity, at least for someone like myself, to actually learn them. They were incredibly intimidating. And I remember walking away from a game at the GW Open, I believe it was, where I didn't even understand necessarily what happened.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, I generally knew this was a problem, this was a problem, and this was a problem. Then I played them again, very similar list, played with so significantly less fear and had no trouble. But for someone when I see him, I'm like, oh, great. This is likely going to be a problem, and he has to kind of. I feel like they have to misplay for me to do it well.
I think demons are an intimidating army, no matter until GW takes them behind the wood chipper and puts them down as in 11th. It doesn't make them an actual army. There's not a lot of players. They all play it very differently, and it's a whole bunch of monster spam. And if you don't know how to deal with it, you're just going to lose. And even if you know how to deal with it, I played it at the Texas Open. I played it in Oklahoma at the. I know what it is, and both times I went it's they're not fun for any army.
And I want to throw this in there. Every single one of our armies and most of the armies on this list below have seen updates to make them stronger through army rule, through detachment rule, through enhancements, through buffs. And Chaos Demons haven't had a codex.
Yeah, they've had all. That's not fair though. They've had so many buffs and changes, and
they have, but they are still playing the same game. It's like if an army didn't get a book. To me,
yeah. They didn't get a book.
Yeah, and it's like if one of our armies didn't get a book, and you're still having to play in all this new stuff, they're still tooling out what they have.
And they do it winning, by the way.
They have 6 detachments. So let's not get it twisted. They got 5 detachments last Christmas. So all right. Okay, so my turn. I'm gonna pick, just because people have already been trolling me, I'm going to pick Space Wolves, and I'm going to put them in the spoon category. I think Space Wolves are a very honest army that play a very honest game of, I have tough models that I'm going to run out and screen you and do mediocre damage, and I'm just going to hope you don't have a solution for it. And just like I said in our last, meta video, I've played a lot of them. I played one at the Texas Open just recently, and and the dude was 3-1 at the time, so he was not a bad player. And I just if I want a jaily hordy army, I'd play Orks or Admechs. And if I want an army that hits a little harder, that's tough, I'd play Dark Angels or Black Templar. I personally think there's a lot of armies that do it better. And they don't do anything that is intimidating. Like, if they're going to beat you, it's because they're going to slowly kill you and you're not going to kill them. It's not because they've got crazy rules or crazy stats or any of that kind of stuff. I do believe that they suffer more than any other army, except for Black Templar. Any army other than Black Templar from having Oath of Moment as their army rule, because they just don't need it. So I pray in 11th edition, they get their own special thing, because all their detachments suck, and they're just not a scary army if you've played them. I don't know if anybody does anyone disagree?
I wouldn't put them as not intimidating at all, because they still have guns.
No.
But I would say it is a little difficult to put a real finger on the Space Wolves, because I haven't seen.
They don't have an identity.
Yeah, I haven't seen wolves in a while, actually. The last couple Space Wolf players I've played against have all basically played me as if they were Ultramarines with tanks and shit.
The dude I played had wolves, and I put them all down like dogs.
I didn't see any. I basically got oathed.
Let me ask you this. So you want to move them up. Let me ask you this. If I said, okay, you got to play them right now, would you rather play Dark Angels or Space Wolves? You're going to pick Space Wolves every single time.
I'm pick Space Wolves.
Every single time.
I'd rather get shot at than just have to deal with a brick wall.
Deal with Santa Claus coming down.
If I said you want to play Space Wolves, or you want to play against Blood Angels flying at you at speed 12.
I'd
Or
still pick
Black
Space Wolf.
Templar critting on 5s on everything.
Or salamanders overwatching you every time you move.
Look. We don't talk
One
about
of the
Salamanders.
coolest looking armies in the entire game.
We don't talk about
They
Salamanders.
need
We
help.
don't talk about that.
Unless Chris or Jason, you've got a case for moving them up.
I'm not
Staying
gonna
in the
get-
spoons.
I'm not getting flamed in the comments, so we can move on. By the way, if you want to challenge him.
I've already got multiple from the last videos. All right, Jason, your turn.
I love the Space Wolves.
Question: Should I take the easy route here or the hard route? All right,
Come
I'm
on
gonna
now.
take easy route. Imperial Agents. They're not an army spoon.
Yeah.
Man, that's weak.
No one's going to
man.
argue.
That's
All right.
weak.
Hey, that way
But
it just
hear
keeps
me
us
out.
moving. It keeps us moving.
But
Okay.
Let's hear
Okay. Hold
Let's
on.
hear this argument.
it.
Let's all lose some
Yeah, the
respect
guy
for Chris's
The
opinion.
guy
What do you
shows
got
up
here?
with a Thunderhawk and what? Rogel Dorn as
All
part
right.
of it.
We're not even
Again-
going to talk. We're not even going to waste time. All right.
Again, I argue if you want to win best in faction, take them to a tournament. You'll get it every time.
Yeah, we were at Texas Open. There was one player, and he got best in faction for
yeah.
Imperial Agents, and he told us all to go fuck ourselves as we were trolling him.
He did say that.
Yeah. All
He
right,
did.
James, you're up.
I'll pick the Genestealer Cult. That's why I picked him.
Okay, where are you putting them?
Man, I'm putting them under. I'm gonna put extremely intimidating. I don't think there's been a single tournament I've been to that I haven't heard people go, "Oh, there's a dude here playing Genestealer Cults." People don't go, You know?
Okay.
That's really what it comes down to. They all go,
Not
you
the-
know, and
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, and they're like, you kind of want to be like, all right, well, what kind? They don't even ask what kind of army he's playing. They know, and they're like, every single time. But I think they're great. I love them.
They're super
I
cool.
like to fight. I like to fight against them. I think that's cool. But they have guns, so you know how I feel about that.
All right.
Hey,
What do you got, Chris?
Okay, I let him finish. I would not be able to understand why, as someone who plays an orc player, how Genestealers could be that intimidating to an orc. That their ability, they're very much like they do what Guard does. They do it better. They're a better, in my opinion, they're a better version of a tempo army. They're a better version of a put pressure on you, get on points, OC battle. I agree they're extremely intimidating, but I believe they're extremely intimidating for about half of the player base.
correct. That's why I put it there.
Like,
Yeah,
but so
I got to pull them down.
I got that's for about half the player base. They're
Exactly.
niche in a certain degree, I mean. But I don't think if they line up against a world leader, they line up against a fast an orc army that's putting pressure on them. They line up against custodes. I don't think any real either an elite army or a melee army is going to have a problem where they're going to go, oh, okay, we're just going to rush the point. I don't. For a shooting army, they are incredibly intimidating. I give you
So,
that, but
Here's the thing about Genestealers. Where James is correct is that nobody goes, yes, I got Genestealers. Even playing World Eaters, which is like a hard counter to Genestealers, you're going, ugh, because it's like you're fighting all the cockroaches that just keep coming out of the corners. So if this one isn't because you're like, oh, they're big and scary, it's just because it's just like, God, they're just annoying to deal with. That's
100%. 100%.
That's where they go. Because like if I was playing Sisters, they're intimidating because they're going to be really difficult. But if I was playing World Eaters or Dark Angels, I'd go, this is an auto win for me, but I have to pay attention for the whole game or somehow I'm going to mess this up. That's where they're just, all right, Mr. Chris.
I'm going to go orcs.
All right,
And I'm going to put them into, out of respect for my friend here, slightly
just put 'em where-
intimidating.
Okay.
Oh,
Now I'm devil's advocate here. I believe they have been done a disservice by Games Workshop. I believe that their data sheets are the real issue.
Are terrible.
That's the real issue. I think that if they had better data sheets, you could make a lot of these detachments work. But I look at a lot of their, like the Mega Knobs, and I could think of 10 other examples of similar units that do it better. And not just from the perspective. Every time I play James here, or when I played Orc players at tournaments, I walk away going, man, my Overwatch really did a good job against him. I feel like when I see Orcs, I literally go, well, I'm going to lunch early. Like, because I don't feel like they do anything currently better than any other army. I really don't. Like, I feel like I would actually be more intimidated by Space Wolves personally than I would Orcs. But that's a sign of the times, I think.
I'm pulling them down. So, here's the problem with Orcs.
Gave them slightly due to green time.
Yeah, no. So They hit harder than Space Wolves, but they die a lot easier. Orcs suffer from, I didn't understand this concept because when I started playing it, it was like in the later part of 9th edition. And so I didn't get this concept because like Sisters were a late codex in 9th. So I didn't experience this. They experienced what's called early codex. They got one of the first codexes and the power creep happened and they didn't go with it. So they die too easy. And, you know, I've played Mark a ton. I've played really good players with Orcs.
We did get some power creep, and then they took
They
it from us.
did.
Yeah. So I think I just don't think anybody is intimidated when they see Orcs. I think they go, okay.
Hey, I just tell everybody
As
the
a-
truth, man. I'm here for a good time. not a
I'm
long
I'm
time.
I'm just going to defend here for a second. I know it's not going to change where they are. I think Death Guard plays well into them. The first time Mark and I played, it was when I first started. I didn't do well. Last time we played, felt more comfortable. Felt that I battled well into them. They're slightly intimidating because there's just some of their models you don't want them to get in on you. Not
Sure.
all of them, just some of them. But I think they got done dirty with more DACA. And I think Games Workshop, after the more DACA, no DACA, they learned not to nuke a detachment, to adjust the points, adjust the data sheets instead of just completely obliterating something. So I think things got better. The Orcs were done dirty in the summer last year.
I'm gonna pick an easy one. Black Templar. I'm gonna put them in the blue category. I think they are the worst Space Marine chapter in the entire game. I think Games Workshop actually tried giving them a different rule, but I've played them. I played them at the last. Actually, I didn't play them in Texas Open. The last 3 tournaments before that in a row, I've played Black Templars, and every time when I got paired into them, I didn't go yay or nay. I just went okay, and then I walked over to the table. I looked at their army, and I went okay. And I was playing different armies at each of these. They're not an intimidating army, in my opinion. I think they're just an extremely honest Warhammer army that just does a thing. And I don't think they even do it very well. But
Never
Anyone?
played them. I have no idea.
I hope the Wolves come for you after what
Never
you just,
played 'em.
the disrespect that you just did to the Wolves players, and then just did that to the Templars like that. I hope they come for you.
you know what?
'Cause
I'm actually going to move it. The Wolves are worse. So like,
My
I have.
God.
I think the worst army in the game is Space Wolves. From my perspective, I know they're not actually. Then it's Black Templar. Then it's Imperial Agents.
Fair enough.
All
Fair
right,
enough.
Jason, pick you
World
one.
Leaders,
Okay.
extremely intimidating.
Okay.
They get in on you. They don't have enough hands to roll all the dice they're going to need to roll. I don't like all the sustains. I don't like all the crits. I don't like the corn bullshit that they get to do. I don't like the army. I hate playing against the army. As you can tell, I'm jaded because I've gotten my ass kicked by that army too many damn times. I don't like it. It's intimidating. I move like a damn snail or Myrtle the turtle. I don't want that shit in on me. Mark's played them. He don't want that shit in on him.
I'm
Chris
still
has
gonna
played
say
them.
slightly intimidating though, because I like
No.
playing them. You know,
You might. I don't.
I like playing them.
Fuck them.
Okay.
I'm gonna go to the opposite. This is coming from someone that doesn't perform well against World Eaters. They're not intimidating. I just don't have a solution for them. Extremely intimidating to me is something where you go, I don't have a clue what to do. Right?
Salamander.
I know what I would be able to do, need to be able to do to beat them. I just don't have the capability of doing it, I don't think, or at least I'm not talented enough to do it. But you know what's about to happen. It's not like
Yeah.
you just beat the brakes in you and you didn't know what you're happened.
Drop trowel. That's it.
What I'm getting at is like when I made the comment earlier about Chaos Demons, I didn't know what to do. It was so overbearing. It was so intimidating because the stats, you know what's about to happen. So I don't consider them extremely intimidating because I know what they're going to do, but it's just whether or not you have the solution for it's a different.
Yeah, because you know what they're going to do, and they're going to do it anyways. They're not changing their game plan. 2 or 3, they're coming after that ass. Get ready.
So it sounds like to split the baby, so to speak. We'll put them in intimidating. And for newer viewers, I will highlight a couple of these just as an example. Genestealers and World Eaters are what's considered expression armies, which means the better the player is, the better that army does. There are certain armies like Necron or Guard that have a higher floor for players, but they do have a ceiling. Genestealers or World Eaters are an expression army, which means the higher the skill of the player, the better it is. Because you could go to one tournament and go, God, World Eaters are terrible. And the perfect example, when I picked them up, Chris had played a player that was not very good at World Eaters and was like, they're terrible. And then we started playing and he was like, oh, this is a different army. And it's because it's an expression army. The better you understand the game, the better they can perform.
10-second story. I remember when I first started, Drake said, oh, that army's stupid. It
I did.
sucks.
I did.
And then he picked the shit up
I did.
and was like, I love it. It's cocaine. Put it in my veins.
It's fun. I will tell you, you want to be a better player at Warhammer, pick any army except Space Wolves and that is melee, and it will make you a better player. It will make you a better player. All right, James.
I'm going to just take good old Space Marines.
The blueberries.
Blueberries.
Okay.
I'm not going to go off current meta because we all know what that's like. I would put them as either intimidating or slightly, probably more on the intimidating side, depends on the faction, really, you know, which
We're just talking Ultramarines.
Ultramarines, I would say I'd put them as intimidating just because
Yes.
you've got a couple of models that can basically be attached to anything in your squad. They all get oath. They all swing. They all have guns. I hope they're picking up the theme here.
They are the most balanced army in the game. They are good in melee. They are good at skirmishes. They're good at OC. And they are the single most efficient shooting army in the game. They have bypassed guard, Tau, everybody. They're the most efficient shooting army in the game. Having 2 targets every turn that they can have full rerolls and +1 to wound against, it turns them into the most efficient shooting army in the game. They don't do anything incredibly well, except their shooting isn't the scariest. It's just incredibly efficient. And nobody goes, yes, I got Ultramarines. They go, okay. Anybody feel differently?
Double oath is the intimidation, I think.
Double oath is cancer.
It's horrible. It's sadness on the
It's
table.
sadness.
It's just
That's a good way to describe it, man.
It's just sadness because you know
it's coming and you can't do shit about it. You're like, hey, my gun platform is going to beat the shit out of yours. And then they're like, but wait a minute, here's what's going to happen. This one thing is going to get 35 buffs. And now and you're like, fuck.
Not to stick on this, but you know what it reminds me of? Old Thousand Suns. We were like, here comes 9 mortal wounds and I can do absolutely nothing about.
All right, Mr. Christopher, you're up.
Deathwatch.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Thank you. To this day, I don't have a freaking clue what this army does, but they put my face into the dirt and drag me behind for 3 hours, and I still don't have. I cannot wrap my brain around. And I know I should just take some time to understand what they do and how they're doing it, but it feels like no matter how much time I've tried to just understand what they're doing, they put my face in the dirt and they just push me forward, and there's nothing I can do about it. I don't know if it's my kryptonite. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I cannot put my finger on it, but this army is my kryptonite. When I see them, I almost debate just walking up and shaking his hand and going, have a great day, man. I'll see you in 3 hours.
The problem with Deathwatch is at any given turn, it can be a 200-player tournament. There's 3 Deathwatch players there. And those 3 Deathwatch players, this is their 5th army. They know what they're doing. They know all of their stats by heart. And they are about that life. And so there isn't a whole lot of casual Deathwatch players that are just there for the lulls.
That's kind of why I was going to say intimidating, because they kind of fall to me under World Eaters and Genestealers. We're like,
no, they don't have a simple plan. Their entire army, uppy downies every turn and shoots and charges. So you don't know how their play is going to be on any given day. I think Deathwatch
extremely intimidating.
Are a very intimidating army because you can't look at their roster before the game and go, okay, here's their win condition. Here's what I need to do. You honestly just have to get into the game and start feeling the flow of it and have to adapt on the fly. And even, I'm telling you, as a very experienced player, they are one of probably the top 3 armies that I do not want to pair into because you're going, ugh, what am I doing?
Yep. It's Grey Knights, but worse. That's what it feels like.
Good Grey Knights. I'm gonna take the big evil stompy robots and I'm gonna put them in slightly intimidating. Here's why. I am not intimidated by them all. I think both the Knight factions shouldn't be in the game. I don't think either of them are very good, but I think for 90% of players, when they see that they're going up against triple despoilers, and each of those things have literally 36 shots. I don't give a shit what your armor is and what your health is. When you're getting shot by 100 bullets in a turn, you're going to die. It's going to kill whatever it wants. And if you don't know how to deal with that stat check, it can feel intimidating. Even if you do know how to deal with that stat check, it's still a little bit annoying because you're just like, ugh. But I do not think they're scary. I just think they're more of a like, all right, this is who I got. I just need to make sure that I don't get in line of sight for 2 different despoilers to light me up. Okie dokie.
I think versions of their armies are intimidating. Of knights in general. Now, to be fair, I'm speaking from the perspective of Imperial and Chaos Knights.
We can honestly put them in the same.
Yeah.
Like
here's the deal.
I
3
think
Lancers, intimidating as hell. To me, you put a Canis and some Armigers, not intimidating at all. So to your point, I think that you could argue slightly intimidating, but I think for a newer player, you're going to see that move up.
The more
but
new
for
you are,
player,
yeah,
it's slightly intimidating. Like when I see them, I'm like, I only have 2 questions: do I get Armigers or am I getting triple
big
Lancer?
boys? Yeah. And so they can be, but I don't think they're anything too crazy. All right, Jace.
I'm going to take, let's go with Emperor's Children.
Ooh. Okay.
We will start them out as intimidating. I've personally never played them. However, there are some of you that have. I think some of their rules make them intimidating. If you don't know what they're doing as a new player, it's very intimidating when they start moving all over the board with jazz hands.
Quick. I just played the number 2 Emperor's Children player in North America. And I can tell you that I thought I knew what fast armies were. And then I met his army and went, holy mackerel.
What you want to learn today?
that's about how it went. I don't think they're extremely intimidating because I knew what he was going to do. He did exactly what I thought he was going to do. I just didn't have an answer for it. I agree with you 100%. Anybody have any conflict?
Nope. Control armies. Every control army should be an intimidating.
I would equate them to the blue deck that you'd play in Magic the Gathering. It's all about control.
Interesting. Mr. James.
I'm going to put them in. I was going to say slightly, but really?
I was going to say
No,
slightly. I'm not that scared of them.
They have enough
Subterranean Assault
range.
is good, but
Thank you.
I love Subterranean Assault.
Thank
I
you.
love it. I love it too. But
if it wasn't for Subterranean
fun.
Assault, let's just be clear. We could all agree they would be in the spoon category because their data sheets are dog shit.
They're
Subterranean Assault makes them go, okay, all right, hold on a minute. You can do what? And these things can come where? 6 inches, and then they're charging me and shooting me?
Unless you're playing a different detachment and Overwatching more times than you should.
So I think we all agree with Subterranean Assault, they are slightly. I think this is an intimidation factor. I do think Subterranean Assault in the hands of a really good player is one of the better armies in the game, but I still don't think it's intimidating because you're just like, all right, I just need a screen.
Yep. It's going to test your screening ability.
All right,
Yes, sir.
Chris.
This is going to make you giggle. All right. It's going to make you giggle.
Okay.
Sisters.
Okie dokie.
Slightly intimidating.
Notice he's the only one that's taken anybody else's armies.
Okay.
Slightly intimidating. Here's why. You know what they're doing. They do one thing very well. Their immolator with the Meltas is terrifying because there's nothing you can do to stop it. I equate it to the Castrican, the Castrican and the Taurox full speed. Right now, I don't remember the name of the squad you ran against me last time with the 4+, and there was like 20 of them, and the
Sacrosaints.
The Sacrosaints, very intimidating. But I don't think Sisters do anything that feels overbearing. They don't do anything that makes you feel like, oh my God, there's just nothing you can do. It's unstoppable. It's blah, blah, blah. It's 4+ in vuln saves. It's volume attacks. They're not the hardest army to kill. They're not the best killing army I've fought. They're slightly intimidating, but to be fair, you're a good player. You're a great player, so you play them very well. But I think your average history player is not intimidating at all. There's a couple things like that if they have the immolators in the the immolator with the Meltas and the firing deck, you're like, okay, that's gonna hurt. There ain't much you can do about it. But
I would say they're one of those armies that it's just annoying. They're intimidating, but they're just annoying because of the miracle dice with the ability to say, hey, I'm going to max damage this. I'm going to blow you up on this turn, or I'm going to turn my failure into a save with this shitty miracle dice right here.
Oh, they're demoralizing for sure.
Yeah.
Intimidating, not so much. Demoralizing for sure. There's nothing worse than like if you're running the Vanquisher and you're like, all right, got the one wound through. Here comes 11. Oh, no.
Shit.
I forgot to say this. Emperor's Children and Sisters are two, we haven't had a lot, are two other expression armies. The higher the skill of the player, the more dangerous the army becomes. Anybody disagree,
me
or
with
you guys think
sisters-
they're slightly intimidating?
They're just like salamanders. They got flamethrowers. I hate that shit.
I would say they would be above Tyranids in my opinion.
I'll just say this as somebody who's played a shit ton of them. I actually completely agree with you guys. I do not think that. I think the only thing that might be intimidating is the fact that they are the 24th out of 27 armies, like one of the least played armies. So you guys have a ton of reps because you've played me. The average player does not have a ton of reps into sisters,
Yeah.
and so I think that is difficult. But they are a shenanigan-based army, and they don't do anything really well. They're going to play their own game, and you can't force them out of it. And I think
Cheeky shenanigans.
yeah, but they're not scary. All right. I'm going to pick Eldari. I'm going to put Eldari in Intimidating. And the main reason I'm going to put them in Intimidating is because I think Eldari are similar to Sisters in the sense that they have shenanigans. They're a shenanigan-based army. The difference, though, is that their shooting they have Sisters shooting, except instead of it being 12 inches, it's all 18 and 24 inches. And that doesn't sound like a lot, but being able to fire Melta rifles that instead of having 9 strength, you're having 12 and 14 strength, and you can do them at 24 inches, you're deleting anything you're wanting to shoot at. When you have that kind of shooting with some shenanigans, while they don't have a sacrosanct, really tough model or anything like that, anytime you have a shooting army that has a ton of shenanigans, they are the definition of an expression army, that they can become very scary. And if you look at all the armies on that row, they can shoot every single one of them off the board if they get into their situation. So to me, if you're playing Eldari, and I'm taking this as it's first round of the tournament, I don't know if this person's good or bad. I'm going, oh God, why did I get Eldari first? Because they're very similar to Sisters in the sense that they're going to play their game. You're not getting them off it.
I agree.
Only reason I think they're higher is because their shooting output is higher.
Mm.
All right, Jace.
Man, let's take Custodes. I'd put them in slightly intimidating.
Yeah.
You start taking away their models, they get demoralized real quick.
And they're intimidating on turn 3.
Yeah. If there are still a lot of them on board late in the game, they're very intimidating. But most of the time, if you've got any kind of shooting and they're rolling mid board with it, they're not that intimidating to me.
Yeah, now that they can't, shoot you without being wholly in terrain, it's not really a concern anymore. Before, when they could just edge up and peek around the corner, that was when they were intimidating.
They're a 2-up, 4-up. So when their dice are hot, they're the scariest army in the entire.
Mm-hmm.
They're not the scary. You just go, well, I can't win. It's just impossible. When they're 4-ups, don't 4-up, man, those expensive models start dying real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, James.
I'm gonna take Tau. I'm gonna put him in the spoon.
You're out of your mind.
Oh yeah, I know I am. But I've only played against them twice, and neither time have I really felt anything really for them. So it's just lack of experience on my part for playing them. Both times I played against them, it was the detachment where they didn't get stronger until turn 3 or whatever, and I had them dead by then. So I don't know I don't know anything about that army. This is ignorance talking.
So after playing you a lot, they do what I do, what Guard does, better. I can tell you, I think any shooting army in the game would say they better feel extremely intimidating. Any melee army in the game goes, well, better get on them pretty quick. And that's the win condition. So I agree putting them in intimidating. But I'll tell you what, there is nothing, and I mean nothing worse from a shooting army perspective than rolling up against Tau with stealth.
Or they have 3 ghost kills. They got 3 lone ops that are blasting at you from 24 inches away. And they're like, no, you can't shoot back. I have lone op. You're like, what did you just say to me?
Excuse me, sir.
They are handcuffed with world eaters. They have the same intimidation factor for just a different reason.
For me though, like I said, the last guy I played against him,
that's just a skill situation. The guys you played just weren't that good.
Yeah, that's what I figured. But
Tower,
I don't have much to go off of.
Mark's game for any of you good Cal players.
They can be rough.
I'm not calling them out. I just
he calling them out. Put it in the chat.
I blatantly said it was due to ignorance. I said that. So, but I'll play a game. I'd love to get more reps in on Tau.
All right, Chris.
I don't want to do it because it's another RV he plays.
That's fair.
You know what? I'm going to go Drukhari here. Slightly intimidating for one reason and one reason only. Peek, shoot, peek. peek shoot move, obnoxious. It's intimidating. You have to be very careful with how you position. Outside of that, slightly intimidating. I'd borderline spoon, but they do some things that if you're not paying attention and you're and you're not being mindful of what the capability is, they can surprise you and then catch you off guard, especially on a high value target. They don't. The little boat looking things they have, I don't remember what they're called, not overtly threatening. Nothing they do seems really scary to me other than what is it, the peak shooting las cannons from across the map. That other than that, that's good.
I would agree. I think Drukhari are a really good army. I just don't think they're super intimidating because you know what they're going to do. You know how they're going to play. It's MSU. They're going to run around, score points. They're going to skirmish, and they just like they are in the lore. They want to pick something off. And but like if you go army versus army, let's meet in the middle. They're not about that.
Yeah. No.
Anybody disagree?
Nope.
All
no
right.
experience in them.
I'm gonna pick Death Guard. I'm gonna pick Stinky Boys. I'm gonna put them also in slightly intimidating. I think that they were my 5th matchup at Texas Open. So I played a pretty good guy. I've played MSU Death Guard. I've played Jason a bunch on Death Guard. And then the last guy I played had Rodigus, unclean one. Here's the thing, like Death Guard, it takes you 5 seconds to look at their army and go, that's their plan. This is their win condition. And then you just, you play against it. And so to me, they're not intimidating. Like they're good. They're very tough. They can hit extremely hard, like holy mackerel. But there's nothing about them that I'm like, oh my God, I do not want to fight this. So
I would imagine a melee army into the auras would feel a little rough. I don't play melee, but I can imagine it'd be a little But I don't know how detrimental the auras would be to a melee army. It just feels like they would be.
Yeah, it sucks. It
does, but I haven't really felt intimidated by them. Since Dallas Open when there was 37 of them. That was it.
Yeah, that wasn't fun. All right, so Jason,
Dark Angels, they are ultra intimidating to me. Y'all might have something different.
You want them in extremely intimidating?
Yeah, I want them extremely intimidating because you put those 2 extremely durable Terminator blocks on the side points, and then at any given point, you've got Lionel Johnson with Fight First coming down. He's going to do his work, and then he's going back up into the heavens, and then Santa on his sleigh's coming back down somewhere else to slay, and then like all that uppy downy stuff. Oath of Moment. I've had fun playing against them. I had a good Mortarian Lionel Johnson fight, but all that, like, that's rough. It can be rough because he's not easy to take down.
I don't like the plus to CP aura that he has, but I would still put him under intimidating.
Okay.
Like for the
so you want to move him down? You said, Mark?
I'd move him down, but that's just me. I enjoy playing against him.
Well, we're split right now.
Yeah, Chris? Never when I look at them do I go,
I feel like if you're going to put them in extremely intimidating, then you got to move World Eaters. You got to move any army that has the ability of running Terminator Breaks up by that logic. So I agree that the Dark Angels,
Deathwing Knights
are extremely and above others are intimidating. But I don't think the question would be are Terminators intimidating or are Dark Angels intimidating? And I don't think Dark Angels as an army are very intimidating. I think the Terminators are for sure. But I see them. I would rather face them than World Eaters.
Yeah, I actually think they're I would personally put them at the bottom of intimidating. I think they have some real problems that can be difficult for armies to answer, and I think I don't think people are excited about being paired into them. But I don't think it's like no. All right, Mr. Chris,
we will go Grey Knights. We're gonna go Grey Knights. Intimidating.
Interesting.
Okay. No, you know what? I'm going to say slightly intimidating. 3-inch deep strike Grey Knights, most intimidating thing, top 3. Since the 3-inch deep strike, I'll put them at slightly intimidating. Their movement shenanigans are still a problem, but at 6 inches, it's not the same army. I actually think they need something's got to give. That was their thing, and now you've given 3 armies that. Like it's
your fault.
Don't you dare!
It's your fault. 100%.
Lots of armies got it. Does anybody disagree that slightly intimidating?
No, not at all.
I think nobody loves uppy downy armies, and that's the only thing I'm giving them credit for. Other than that, none of their data sheets are scary. None of their units are scary. All right, I'm gonna take
Can we, as a group, just go ahead and put Imperial Agents in the spring?
Yeah, I didn't realize they were here, so I just haven't
Yeah,
double
Thunder
dipped
Storms,
there.
Okay.
get on them. Get on them.
Yeah.
You see it. He just
Double
put
them.
it twice.
Double them up. Put them in there
Yeah.
twice.
Okay. I'm gonna take Blood Angels after playing a good Blood Angels player. I'm gonna put them in Intimidating. And here's the reason. In my opinion, Blood Angels and World Eaters, it's like the good and bad Red Army. The difference is that World Eaters can be screened if you know what you're doing. Blood Angels can't. Their whole army has fly. Their whole army moves 12 and has access to advance and charge. So when you're dealing with it, whether you're dealing with it from a shooting army or a hybrid or a melee, when you know that the enemy can come at you at any time, and you got to assume they can land a 6-inch charge. So they've got an 18-inch threat range and they can fly. So there is no screening. It makes it really tough because like, as you're a more experienced player, kind of something Jason alluded to, like if I'm playing Dark Angels, one of the things I'm going to think about is like having a unit behind a unit for me heroicing in, making them choose which are you going to fight so that I can, counter. You can't do that because they're going to just fly over the unit they don't want to hit and they're going to hit the one they do want to hit. And so I do think they can be intimidating. Because of the fact that they're so fast and they can't be screened.
Fun to play against. I played against one at the last tournament, and it was I think I won by 4 points or something like that. It was close, but it was a great game. I learned a lot from it. I would definitely say it's intimidating.
It's one of those half the player base, half the armies are going to go shit.
Mm-hmm.
The other half are going to go okay.
Yep.
Okay. Hope you got flamethrowers. They're paper.
No, they're not. You haven't played the right ones. They're 2 up, 4 up. They have a 2 up base. Their average unit has a 2 up base save, 4 up invuln, 4 health apiece. They're not paper.
Yeah, the only reason I even got what I did is because I was rolling 30 mega knobs, or not 30 mega knobs, sorry, 30 knobs and hitting
Sanguinary
them with 40 swings a
Guard
thing.
are basically flying Terminators.
Yeah.
Their jump intercessors are 90-point skirmishers. Like those aren't like
they're
like,
made of paper.
And don't let Golden Boy show up. Golden Boy shows up. It's all hell
yeah. All right, Jason.
1,000 Suns. I'd put them in slightly intimidating.
Yeah.
I mean, the Rubric Marines right now, their shenanigans with the warp. I mean, just don't get overwatched by them.
Yeah.
I really like the Rubric Marines. Man.
Yeah.
To this day, probably favorite unit in the game.
The Egyptian aesthetic to me. That's what does it.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem with T-Suns right now is they just have a weird identity, and I don't think they're a bad army. I actually think they're a good army. I just think you know what they're going to do, so it's okay. And Rubric Marines and Scarab Occult Terminators basically are keeping that entire army alive, and so
R.I.P. for Mutileth.
Yeah. All right, James, get down the wire.
I'll take the Adeptus Mechanicus. I would put them at. I wish I could do somewhere between slightly and intimidating because they're like I put them
at the top of slightly.
Yeah, I'd put them there because I haven't played them. In my defense, I haven't played them at all since they've had any of their Belisarius call changes.
It my final match.
How'd it go?
It was good. I mean, they I don't know. They're slightly intimidating. They play Honest Warhammer. Like
they shoot well. That's how I was. It was a good army. I enjoyed playing against it.
Yeah,
it wasn't to the point where I was like, oh shit. I don't want
to me, they are a I don't want to make anybody mad, but they're like a shitty guard. Their shooting isn't quite as good. Their OC manipulation is maybe the best in the entire game. So they've got that, but like
they got a couple deceptive shooting things, but other than
yeah. I mean, it was
that was my takeaway when I played them for the first time. I was like, oh, that guy can do how much damage? Oh, really? Wow. And then that was about it.
And it's what's funny about them is like their OC manipulation is like, I'm not exaggerating. I was standing there and I go, how much OC does this unit have? And he goes, 40. And I go, excuse me? And he was like, yeah, I can do this thing and it can have 40. And I went, oh shit. And I go, okay, what's their toughness? 3? What's their health? 1? Base save? 3. Do they have an invuln? No. I went, oh, okay. Like, I don't give a shit what their OC is then. I'm going to literally breathe heavy on them and they're going to die. Okay.
Don't disagree.
Cool. All right, Chris.
CSM. We'll go Chaos Space Marines. Meh. Slightly at best.
Yeah, I'll put them in the middle.
At best. I definitely think we need to move Chaos Knights above them. I'm much more worried about Chaos Knights than than
I
them.
don't
But
even know if I've ever played against a CSM player before.
Yeah, I have multiple times.
really,
They're okay.
wow,
Yeah, I think of all the ones I've played against have been like, Thousand Suns, Death Guard, World Eaters. I don't think I've ever played against basic.
But in a
CSMs.
weird way, where you're like, okay, like this is what I expected. It's what I
Yeah.
expected. There's nothing about the armor that makes me go, oh god, I gotta deal with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
That's it.
All right, I'll take Leagues of Votann. I'm gonna actually put Leagues of Votann in non-intimidating. And you guys may disagree with me. We can pull them up. Here's my only reason. They are complete. Like, I actually don't think they're a bad army. So that's not what I mean by this. I just mean they play an extremely honest version of Warhammer. Their shooting is pretty good. Their toughness is pretty decent. They want to play an honest game of Warhammer. I'm going to put a front line out to stand on the points. I'm going to have my midline shooting at you, and then I'm going to have some screeners in the back line. Like, they play a pretty standard game of Warhammer, and they don't have a whole ton of shenanigans that they're going to throw at you and stuff they're going to do. I've played them multiple times, and I've never been like, oh man, I got Votann. It's always like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
The
pretty much.
Ironheart Hearthguard to come in. Their shooting is scary,
Sure.
but
They're going to come in
that's-
and they're going to shoot something. They're probably going to kill it, and then they're going to die right afterwards because they
Yeah.
move 5 and they're just
Yeah,
going to
they
get
are very
obliterated.
slow, yeah.
Like, they're dwarves,
Yeah.
so they're going to move slow. All right, so I'm going to give surprise thing. I'm going to give each person one unit that they can move based on. Listen, I disagree with where this one army is, so we'll let Chris go first.
Knights.
Which
Both
one?
Knights.
Or both?
If we're still grading them as both
Sure,
need
sure.
to be right behind Sisters. I would
Okay.
still rather play Knights over Sisters, but if 3 Lancers touch the board, I'll take Sisters every day of the week. I'll take every day of the week. Every day of the week. But other than I think Knights, just because of their data sheets alone, are intimidating to a degree.
Okay, James.
I would say I would still want to probably move up. No, I wouldn't want to move any of them up. I'm sorry. I'm pretty content where they are. The one that's maybe Blueberries, Space Marines, is sometimes it's just I don't like flamethrowers, man. I don't like flamethrowers.
Well, you're thinking of salamanders though. Like, Ultramarines don't run flamethrowers.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And we're not rating all
PTSD is
the
there.
detachments.
PTSD is there, man.
Yeah.
So for me, other than that, I don't see any others. Maybe move guard down a peg. They're a little high.
Move them like down here.
Yeah. That's for
Okay.
you, Chris. That's for you, Chris.
Okay.
I'm in the spoon. I don't want to hear.
That's Tom pettiness right there.
All right, Jason.
I would move Tyranids up behind Sisters. Out of that whole group, I think Tyranids potentially,
Interesting.
and I would even argue above Sisters, because I think Tyranids they've got a couple of detachments. Subterranean normally leads the way.
You're crazy, but okay.
But the only reason I argue that is you see more Tyranid players than
And you'll lose to a lot more Sisters players than
you'll
you will
lose to a
Tyranid.
lot more Sister players. But like with me, if you're new to the game, like
He's like, I'm gonna lose to
to
them all.
be fair,
I'm gonna lose to most of them, even Space Wolves. But I'm gonna like you can put them behind Sisters,
Real.
but they're gonna be above everybody else. They're gonna be right behind Sisters. That
Sure.
like they're better than everybody else there, in my opinion, because you don't see really much of any of those other ones tabling, minus Drukhari, minus the occasional Thousand Suns.
I give you the Norn Queen. The Norn Queen's and at first glance is like, oh my god, how's that thing gonna die? Then you shoot it enough, and you're like, oh okay. That's
Or you bring Puff the Magic Dragon out of a fucking subterranean tunnel.
Wait, shoot it enough? What's that?
Yeah. So the only one that I'd actually move up, and I'm just doing this not from my perspective of playing the army, but from the perspective of people that I have been, when I get paired into people and reading the comment section, I'm actually going to put World Eaters at the top of intimidating. I have never gone to a table playing Sisters, and someone was like, I could tell they were not thrilled. Like they want to know what your army does and this, that, and the other. I've had the same experience when I played Dark Angels. They're like, okay, yeah, you got those Terminators, right? Okay. You got the Lion. Okay. And they'll ask those questions. I've never had that. I have had people when I've played World Eaters just straight up go, okay, yeah. And then I'll go, okay, I'll tell you. And they're like, I know your whole army has hammers and they're just going to come hit me. Like you can tell they visibly are not excited. And what people have posted in multiple comment videos is asking me to make games on how to deal with World Eaters. And, you know, Jason was like, I hated playing them. Chris is like, I know what's going to happen and I'm still going to lose. Like to me, I think that there is a little bit of an intimidation factor. And jokes aside, on just a total side joke note, like I'm a larger guy. I have actually, like, I was talking to my wife because we started working out. I go, I'm going to get in shape and I'm going to start walking around in like a muscle shirt when I'm playing World Eaters and not wear any deodorant, let the Nurgle flow and just be that dude at the tournament. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I knew you were kidding, but still,
But
the
I
Nurgle
do
is
think
strong.
that World Eaters have a stigma of like, you're either the army that goes, nope, I have the tools to exactly deal with them, or they're like, oh, fuck.
Yep.
Fair enough.
I agree with that.
All right, everybody. So let us know in the comments which ones you disagree with, which ones you agree with. And I'm very curious to see what people think. But hopefully this is helpful for you guys. Drop a like for the Emperor, subscribe for more content like this, and we'll see you guys next time.